Horizontv, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizontv.
How come Muslim men and women are not allowed to shake hands? Now, Muslim men and women are not supposed to shake hands because it is prohibited in the religion of Islam. And of course, as we said, this whole aspect, the hijab, the free mixing are all related. Therefore, we are not allowed to shake hands unless we are shaking hands with the mahrams, and that is to minimize fitna and of course to minimize anything that would come with the shaking of hands. Now, may I just mention that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited zina, fornication, adultery, whichever we want to look at it, he did not just say do not commit, he said do not go near. And one of the things that would take us near zina is of course shaking hands, the eye contact and the other issues that we've been taught. And it has been reported authentically that Rasulullah Alaihi Wasallam said it is better for a woman actually, for a man to hold a hot coal. And of course we have incidents where there are those who've been asked if you have to hold a woman's hand, then it's better you hold a hot coal than to hold her hand. So because of the fitna and what will come after that, we are not allowed to shake hands. Am I allowed as a woman to ask for divorce in a marriage that I feel it's not working? Yes, you're allowed to ask for divorce so long as that divorce you're asking is in accordance to the teachings of Islam. I always caution ladies, women, married women, not just to jump for divorce and ask for divorce maybe because the man used to have money, he could provide, now he's not able to provide, or because of any materialistic issues. So yes, that is a right you have as long as it is according to the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Is there any minimum or maximum amount of dowry a woman should ask? No. The answer is no. There's no minimum or maximum dowry she can ask. But the Prophet ﷺ advised women to keep it on the minimum. The easier, the simpler, the better. But there's no harm for her to ask any amount she wants. And that is her right. A dowry is known as a token of love. So it is given to her. It's not for family. It's not for the father. It's not for the wali. It's not for anybody to decide for her. She decides and it's her right. Muslim men and women sit separately in social gatherings. Now, Muslim men and women sit separately in social gatherings to minimize the fitna. And the religion of Islam does not allow free mixing, in social gatherings. And to minimize fitna and, of course, to respect the woman's hijab, it is important that they sit separately. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. Question number 1. Does my husband need to consult me before he takes a second wife? According to the Sharia of Islam, no, he doesn't need to consult you. But out of respect, he can inform you. So he only informs you. What types of sports, talents can girls or women engage in, and should and still participate nationally and internationally without crossing the boundaries of Islam and its dress code. Is sports a no-go zone for females in Islam? Sports are good for health and very much encouraged, and also psychological benefits. And we are, of course, supposed to participate in whatever sports we can play that, of course, would accommodate a woman and take care of her comfort. As long as we take care of the garment has to be within the limits of Islam. The trainer has to be a trainer who's maybe a mahram, and also the area in which the sport is taking place is not a place that is too exposed, or maybe it does not have too much ikhtilat. So, and I actually have seen a few women coming up in sports and doing sports very well, and I've noticed that they have their Islamic attire. So as long as the rules of the Sharia are taken care of, there is nothing wrong with the sports. Of course, all work with no play makes Ustadha a dull girl. Is it a must that I change my last name to my husband's first name? No, it is not a must, and you don't have to change your name. You are your father's daughter until the day of Qiyamah. So you maintain your father's name. What is the appropriate age today for parents to marry off their daughters or their sons? According to the Islamic perspective, a marriage should take place with puberty. As soon as the boy or the girl attains puberty, they should get married. But we need to understand puberty here. According to Imam Shafi rahimahullah, he talks about mature puberty, baligh aqil, one who is a baligh and is also mature. Now, marriage comes with a lot of responsibilities, and marriage needs a lot of understanding, and therefore a girl or a boy has to be able to understand the magnitude of marriage and not just to get in there for the sake of getting in there. And again, in today's
la 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 la.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV. Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. It is indeed a very beautiful day. Welcome to the Sabah Show. This is the round table with me, Aisha Khan. The round table is where we discuss very thorny and pertinent issues in our society. But as you know, we have to look at the stories making the top headlines in the country. We're coming to you live from the heart of the city center. This is Horizon TV, the premier Islamic station. Now remember, you can join us on social media, that is at Horizontv Kenya, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And of course, I cannot do this alone. I have with me an amazing panelist here ready to analyze the news. Are you guys ready? So I have with me here Said Kuria, then I have Keegan, and I have Munene Mutwiri. Yeah, so let's look at the first headline that is on the Standard. MP's secret card to stop Punguza Mizigo bill. So the game plan, lawmakers are plotting to exploit a loophole in the constitutions that would see them freeze attempt to reduce their numbers to 147 from the current 416. Of course, they're against this. Do you think they're against the economy of Kenya, Said?
They may not be against the economy of Kenya, but I believe they are doing this for their selfish reasons. Because if you look carefully, they'll be abdicating their responsibility if they fail to present the bill in the House, because it is their responsibility to take the bill to the House. But just because they feel the bill maybe works against some of the interests, they believe they should not take it to the House. And we have heard the side of BBI. We still have another group called BBI, which is advocating for its referendum, and it views Punguza Mizigo as its competitor. And it believes Punguza Mizigo is taking public from BBI. And majority of MP who have commented in this issue are from the one supporting, very vocal, supporting BBI. And we believe they should do the honorable thing. They should attend to their responsibilities, take the bill to the House, because it will be wrong for them to use this loophole, because the Constitution is silent on the time, it hasn't specified the time they're supposed to take the bill to the House, or the duration they're supposed to take so that they can take the bill to the House. So now they want to use that loophole so that the bill can die. And I believe we should have voice of reason in the parliament. We should not have a parliament that reasons like the way sheep reasons, or the way, because I believe these people, these people, we have seen in the past, especially when they were passing when they were passing the tax on fuel, the 8% tax on fuel. We saw that the parliament was whipped by the principles, that is President Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. They were whipped to vote for that bill, so that it could become law. So we believe that these people are representing people, and they should act at the behest of people and in the best interest of the people. Therefore, they should not look at their selfish interest or the interest of their leaders, so that they can work for Kenyans. It is very unfortunate that we are hearing from. And by the way, I also blame the newspapers, because the newspapers are acting as if they are campaigning for BBI, and as if Punguza Mizigo is a very bad thing. Punguza Mizigo may not be a good thing, but the public should be given a chance to vote for Punguza Mizigo, or to
But you see, this is just a headline. Yes. At the end of the day, the newspapers, this is a business. So it's to lure people in. So we cannot start blaming the newspaper when this is just a business. It is to lure, but there is something we call agenda setting in journalism. Don't think that these newspapers are owned by some people. And some people have political interests, they have economic interests. And I believe some people will want to control a particular, to bring a particular narrative using these newspapers. We have seen in the past.
Aisha, I think the conversation around the independence of the media is another conversation altogether. But coming back to this Punguza Mzigo thing, the Punguza Mzigo seeks to reduce the number of MPs from the current 416 to 147. And that is threatening, you know, without saying to the current MPs.
Of course.
And initially, I think Dr. Kuru Okoth, to me, is a brilliant man. And I think he was sure that, you know, according to the process, that this will come to Parliament, and of course there'll be a backlash. So I'm waiting to see what he has in plan in terms of strategy. But again, Article 257 of the Constitution, you know, this is one of the reasons why we need to have a referendum is because we have some vague parts of the Constitution which are not clear, as my brother said. We have the issue of in Article 257 of the Constitution, where it hasn't, you know, dictated clearly the timelines of how long the bill should go through the Parliament. But to the Punguza Mzigo bill, you know, for those who advocate for it, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel, because there is a catch somewhere. BBI also will go through the same process, and it will come to a time when it will get to Parliament too. And you can't have one thing, you know, not going through Parliament. We can't have Punguza Mzigo bill stalling, yet BBI has come and gone through Parliament. It is proper that, you know, Punguza Mzigo goes through Parliament first, then BBI follows. So that, for me, I think it's a nice catch.
It's a nice catch. Munene, what side are you on?
I won't choose any particular side. What I'll say that there's a political will. There's a political system of the way things will be done. And I think it's naive of Kigan to say BBI should not go ahead of Punguza Mzigo. Punguza Mzigo for me is just a populist idea, just there to excite a few of the local mwananchi who really don't understand the constitutions and the finer details of the bill. I'll go against one of the pointers of reducing the members of the National Assembly. I think that's the main issue of contention when Kenyans come to understand that the number of members of representation that we have, we cannot have a county getting 2 members of National Assembly. It will the issue that the Constitution tried to do for affirmative action and equal representation. For example, we have the people of Kibra, a very small constituency, a very small place of area, having an MP in their representation because of the number of population they have. Then we have the larger counties like the counties of Isiolo with a population of 200,000 and a very big part of the republic. So we won't have equal representation when we are going to reduce the number of MPs. When it comes to the MPs have not said they will not take the bill to parliament. They will exploit a loophole in the constitution. They can sit on it until what their political leaders will direct them to do, until what they will be wiped to do. There's a presidential system or now bills and policies are passed by the government. So the main political parties wield the power to direct the policy that parliament will take. So at the end of the day, court will either have you will need to wield that power to whip members of parliament to support him. If he can't do that, then we will have to step aside and we will go with the BBI. If BBI will propose a referendum, because we know the report is not yet out.
I want to say something before we proceed to the next point. Mutwiri should not arrogate himself responsibility of determining what is good for Kenyans and what is not good for Kenyans. Because we feel he thinks that Punguza Mizigo is just a populist bill. But it has not been taken through the referendum to determine whether Kenyans want it or doesn't want it. I believe in a democracy, and everyone should be given a chance. I think you don't need to have a PhD in political science to know that Mutwiri is supporting BBI. And he believes the BBI is the best for the country. I'm not saying Punguza Mizigo is the best or it will be the best medicine to cure the ills that have been deviling our society. But I believe they should be given a chance. They should be equally be given a chance. In fact, parliamentarians in their immaturity or their chest dumping that they exploit this loophole. We should not have a country where people chest dump that they have a loophole because the law was not clear on this particular, so we can sit on the bill until we finish with our terms so that Punguza Mizigo cannot see light of the day or can die on arrival. We believe that our court had a point, and if Kenyans resonate with what he had prepared for Kenyans, then it is well and good. We're in a democracy.
Aisha, I've said this. You know, there is this peculiar and very unfortunate idea that is going around where people only look at Punguza Mzigo they only look at one thing in Punguza Mzigo. They only look at the reduction of the representation. I mean, there are a whole lot of other things in Punguza Mzigo that may sound good to you or may sound bad to you according to your opinion, you know, and understandings. So we should not just limit the conversation of Punguza Mzigo just to the representation thing. I know it is the highlighting part, but we should not just limit the conversation to that and, you know, rubbish it on that. And again, I've said this time without number, that please do not align yourself to Punguza Mzigo or to BBI because of a political leader has told you to rubbish this, to trash this, or to uphold it. Please, Kenyans, I want to appeal to Kenyans that read the Constitution, know the contents of Punguza Mzigo. BBI are soon to release a report. Know their contents, then make your own independent decision.
I think I have to respond to Korea because he made a personal attack on me. I'm not here to
very briefly.
Very briefly. What my opinions are not for I'm not telling Kenyans what they should know, what they shouldn't do. At the end of the day, as he said, we are governed we are in a country governed by our constitutions, and it's as he said, it's a democratic right for every Kenyans to choose where to sit or where not to sit. At the end of the day, as he said, there is a political caravan that we are going to take take. And I'm not, if Okot is ready to have members of parliament support him, he can well go ahead and do it. But I said, at the end of the day, because there is a political will of the kingmakers, the political bigwigs of this country, it's naive for anyone to say Punguza Mzigo will ever see the light of the day.
Okay, that was a very interesting conversation. Now moving on to the Daily Nation. This is something that it was even there in yesterday's papers, and again it's made light again. So dying giant Nat in fight for survival. Yeah, and that's on Daily Nation, but again on People's Daily it's a headline. So drama as defiant Sosion ejected. So end of the road, teachers union top organ votes to send beleaguered Secretary General home and installs his deputy as acting boss, but abrasive trade unionist dismisses move as a nullity.
Aisha,
we
have to start by saying that what we saw yesterday was very embarrassing.
It's true, very embarrassing, and it's making the
absolutely. And we are having, we saw that, they wanted to have a meeting, and that meeting was illegal, and it was in the public, it was in the public knowledge that Sosion had obtained a court order, to nullify the meeting that was supposed to be held yesterday and pushed it to December, if I'm not wrong. It will be held in Kakamega. So first of all, we have to go back to the structure of NAT. NAT has been very strong, it has had the power of 200,000 teachers, and it has been undivided and strong, to say. But then you look at one thing, it has been too strong for TSE. The TSE, it really, the NAT was always, on toes with TSE, and TSE didn't like it, per se. And what they are doing currently, what is happening, I am persuaded to believe that this is the force of TSE, and looking at Sosion, the way his stubbornness, and his defiance that has kept him, the Secretary General for a long time, and maybe even the most successful of them all. And TSE doesn't like this, and now it's using other NAT members, to fight this. And we've seen a backlash. We've seen that some of the NAT members have left for Kupet. But this is what I want to say. For Sosion, first of all, I think it is improper to hold two offices at the same time. He should concentrate on one thing.
But don't you think this is a political game?
Yes, and
where they're against Sosion so much.
But if you look at it, Aisha,
yeah.
Yes, it's not right for Sosion to hold two offices. He should concentrate on one. But again, if you look at this ouster, purported ouster, this ouster is not based on the fact that Sosion is holding two offices. It's driven by malice.
I want to what he had just said.
Mutwiri.
Thank you. Today, for the protection me against Bana Kuria. We have leaders in this country who want to overstay their time in power. And that's the main issue facing us in general as Africans. The people that you're representing, the moment they are not ready to support you anymore, I think it's well for you to just step aside and give the way for someone else to lead them. I think the big example to give this is in the United Kingdom, the party that is holding the government. When the Prime Minister feels that the people he or she is leading, they are not supporting them anymore, they just step aside and give someone else the role to lead. So if the people, it's naive for Sosion to go in court and bring up court orders when the people that are leading, they are not satisfied with his leadership. At the end of the day, if the people that you're leading feel that they don't need you, just hold. If you feel you're confident enough, you have done enough for them, just call up the meeting and hold up a vote. If your leadership and your character is strong enough, of course the will of the people will support you, the people that you're leading. But if you're not, the will that what you're doing is not justifiable to them, at the end of the day they are not going to support you. Sosion, I think holding the member, being a nominated member of parliament, I think the wisdom behind that was the teachers of this country need a representation in the National Assembly where policies are made. and he sits in the very powerful committee of education, in the committees of the National Assembly. So the Sossion is just playing his political cards. Probably wants to go and vie for political seats come 2022 and that kind of a thing. His work is to represent the teachers. If the teachers are not ready to for him to lead them anymore, let him step aside as a nominated member of parliament and also the leader of NAT.
And I want to, thank you so much for that, Kuria. Before we go for the break, very briefly.
Issue of Sossion. Of course, we cannot say that teachers, we cannot say that teachers don't want Sossion. No one has evidence that teachers don't want Sossion. Of course, we know very well that such embarrassments Keegan has talked about, or such protests, sometimes are sponsored by people who are against the leadership of some labor unions, because maybe they feel the labor unions have been too harsh on them, or they have been pointing mistakes which maybe they would not have wanted them to be pointed. But and still we cannot overlook what Sossion had been doing as a Secretary General of NAT. But I believe he has become overbearing over time. He switched positions from being chairman to Secretary General. When he was a chairman, he was the one who was calling shots. When he became Secretary General, he's still the one who is calling shots. Now he has passed NAT into a personal property, which I believe it is wrong. So we believe they need new leadership, because of course it is common sense. When you become overbearing or when you overstay somewhere, even if you are doing good things, people will start feeling uncomfortable with your actions, and maybe that is what is happening. And I believe there is an African proverb which says, if you see a bird dancing along the path, then they look for its drum nearby. And I believe there are some drummers who are beating the drum, and they want Sossion out. Now they'll incite the teachers, and Sossion may have a very
Thank you so much for those wise words, and we're going to continue with this conversation. Now we'll be taking a short break, and we'll be right back.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
The Messenger of Allah said, whoever says when the morning comes, رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا وَبِمُحَمَّدٍ نَبِيًّا, meaning, I am pleased with Allah as the Lord, and with Islam as a religion, and with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam as a prophet. Then I am the guarantor that I will take him by his hand until I put him into Jannah.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan, and you're watching the Sabah Show,
only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Sabah Show. This is the round table, and of course, this is the second segment of the newspaper review section. This is Horizontv, the premier Islamic station. Now, we had a very heated conversation in politics here. We eat, drink, and sleep politics in Kenya. So on the Star, we have on the front page, sex scandal rocks Prophet Awards Church. Women faithful give horrifying accounts of how Bishop Joseph Gitonga Awards' long-term personal assistant was sexually abusing them. Now, from day in, day out, there's always a story like this. And it's very sad. These are, you know, our bishops, our sheikhs. These are people that, you know, are very respected in our society. Now, is there rot in our society?
Of course, I talk about it, and even in terms of leadership, because even sheikhs, pastors, imams, they are leaders. And the leaders reflect the society, what society stands for. And I believe the church, especially the church, there's a problem, big problem with the church, especially the evangelical churches, the charismatic churches, these mushrooming churches. I'm a bit, the mainstream churches, Anglican and Catholic, they are a bit civil. But these mainstream churches, which are run by individuals and which are started by individuals, have a lot of problems. And it is because if you go to these churches, most of them preach about prosperity gospel. They don't even preach about even life after death. They preach about prosperity gospel. How will you have a big Prado? How will you have a big house? How will you have a good wife? How will you find a wife? The other day we saw in KCC when a pastor from Nigeria came to KCC and invited ladies to pray how they can get husbands. The KCC was full to capacity because people want to be given hope. There's my friend who told me that people don't want development, people want hope. You should become a bishop of hope. You should give people hope. And this is what these people are doing. They don't care about what their life says. They don't care whether they fornicate. They don't care whether they steal. They don't care whether they are corrupt. What they care is what they are getting from their followers. And they have studied their followers. They have seen that they they sell hope to their followers, and in return they get money. So I'm not shocked to see what is happening. Because of course churches, mosques, and all institutions of religion should be guided by some regulations and should be guided by some laws. And of course laws from the highest.
Monene, what do you have to say about that?
I think, thank you for the opportunity. I've always said that I'm one of the most luckiest Kenyans around, being surrounded in an environment,
multicultural setup.
In a multicultural sector. As a Christian, I'll echo the words of my friend Kuria. It's a pity of what is happening in the church right now. And I think the kind of leaders that we are witnessing in the Christian church, it's just immoral and unethical of them. And I think at the end of the day, there is an erosion of the moral part of the society led by Christian. That at the end of the day, it's creeping up to almost let's say as Kenyans we are being affected regardless of the religion that we have, because these are the kind of leaders that they command a very high number of population. At the end of the day, they end up having an influence on what our political leaders, the policy and the frameworks they take for us to undertake. The likes of Pastor Ward, Pastor Nganga, we see his clips going around, what his congregation is going around. And I think this is the right time that Christians come around and see where did the rain start beating us.
I don't only think it's Christians, I think it's all religious leaders, because on the papers you find a lot of, from different, you know, religions, you find that the leaders are the ones who are, you know, entangled in all this.
I won't comment on Islamic leaders, because I think we don't see them appearing on national headlines being on such scandalous institutions and such kind of things. So I think it's the right time that the Christians in this country, and maybe the Christians watching and maybe Muslim brothers watching, to give a word of maybe caution and advice to the people, like we should try and seek the light and the kind way of what.
Thank you so much, Munene, for that. Keegan, you have been burning and I have been keeping you on hold.
Allow me to shape this conversation.
Yes.
First and foremost, let this not be about prophet of war or any other, you know, any other, because this is what comes. It comes back to one point. When we start looking at the profile, we lose the discourse. And again, this can happen in any other place, you know, in any other religion, in any other, you know, any other space or occasion. But first and foremost, again, to say the authorities should deal with this, with such cases, you know, relentlessly. And I have said times without number that this comes back to how we are treating our women, you know. I mean, this shows us that we are only seeing our women as sexual objects. I mean, our women are our leaders, they are our mothers, they are our sisters, they are part of our security, you know. They are in everything, you know, and we can't just reduce the lens to just sexual objects. I think this is unbecoming.
And just to add on that, to give it an Islamic light to that, you have, you know, Adam and Eve, and, you know, the woman from the Quran, it's stipulated that she was taken, you know, from the rib, and is not supposed to be seen as any, you know, less of a man. And of course, you know, the man has his roles and the woman has his roles, her roles. You cannot say that, you know, the woman is superior or the man is superior. No, everyone, respect has to come in there. Kuria, you have something to say? You are burning over here until you are cooled down.
Of course, he has summarized what I wanted to say about the
Okay, so on the Star, we have a very, very interesting, you know, story here written by Hussein Khaled, who is the director of Haki Africa. So there are many people who think that Swahili is the national language and everyone speaks the language. Then they cannot exist as a Swahili community. This is far from the truth. So just a paragraph here is the census official mostly referred to them as Bajun as the closest option. Yet Swahili community exists and is also listed in the census software under ethnicity and under number P16. It would appear that the census officials were not properly trained and they do not know their own software. Clearly, this will lead to gross misinterpretation of Swahili community and coastal people in general. Now, just to generalize it a bit, you know, this is the Swahili community. But what we're noticing, census is very important for us as a country to know how many people we are and all that. But you find that, you know, there's a political agenda behind it. So people are taken to other places so they can be counted to gain some political standing. And then again here, you know, there's a Swahili option, but no, you want to ignore that and you want to give them the option of Bajun. Said.
Of course, I'll say it is very important to allow anyone to have identity. And that is why you have a name. Your first identity starts with your name. And in fact, even in Islam, even a woman doesn't change her name when she goes to her husband, unlike other religions and unlike other cultures, because identity is very important. That is why you have identity as in a name, identity as a family, then you have identity as a community. And I believe it is important. Some people may think that even identifying yourself as from particular tribe or from particular community is wrong, but it is not wrong. Because these communities have different cultures. They have different things which can be used even to help in deciding some issues. If you look at the African socialism, paper number 10 that was written by Tom Mboya. Tom Mboya tried to explain how we can use African society to explain how we can have a system of economy that will help, that will be in tandem with African society. He cautioned people not to take capitalism from Western countries and impose it on Africans, or to take socialism from the East and impose it on Africans. He proposed that we can use our cultures, we can use the rules and laws that govern us as Africans to decide our future, or to decide on different matters. That is why even Swahili should be allowed to exist, because they have very important culture, and that culture may be beneficial even to the rest of the communities. It is not wrong to identify yourself as a Kikuyu or a Kamba or a Swahili, because all these communities have
now my main
strong points
here
and weak points.
Is there a hidden agenda?
The hidden agenda?
For me, I think, first of all, there is a, who is a Swahili? That question, the word Swahili as, as a tribe is not well defined, and this comes courtesy of it was established courtesy of intermarriages, and that's why it's not very clear. And if you go to the coast, you find that there is a very thin line between Bajuni and Swahili. Some people want to be referred to as Bajuni, others want to be referred to as Swahili. But if you ask Abdul Hakim Kigen, he will tell you that to him this is more or less one and the same thing, and it's just a matter of what you want to be referred to as. And I think in the census process, one had the liberty to choose. That's why the census official was not looking at your name and automatically putting in your tribe, was asking you are which tribe, not looking at your name and judging it directly.
But you see, Kigen, when I read this, the census official mostly referred to them to choose Bajun as the closest option. Yet in the software, there is the Swahili option.
That is why I wanted to answer your question.
Authenticate that.
I wanted to answer your question on hidden agendas, because some people may want the population of Bajuns to look bigger because of political reasons. So to add Swahilis to the population of Bajun, which is wrong. They should be allowed to identify themselves as Swahilis because they have their culture, they have their identity, and they can make decisions in their community, which is okay.
A personal experience when I was being counted, as Kigen Kuria said, you need to be given an opportunity to identify yourself. You identify who you want to be associated with. From where I come from, I come from a region of Kenya, from Meru. So basically, I'll be identified, let's say, from the ethnic tribe of Meru. But I can say I identify myself as a Luo or a Kalenjin, or I can what identity do I give to myself? For me personally, I asked the lady that was counting me, I want to identify my ethnicity as Kenyan. And she said, I can't do that. She couldn't. And I had seen previously, you could identify yourself as the tribe Kenyan. Because when we are counting the people, there are foreigners that were counted in this country. And the part of the ethnicity, they were given the nationality that they come from. We have, let's say, example of Americans. They identify themselves as American, let's say of Italian descent, of French descent, of Spanish descent. So I think it's very, very unfortunate that in the coastal region there is a group of people that were not able to give themselves the identity that they should like to be associated with. And as you say, the issue of hidden agendas, we've seen that our politicians use the numbers of the political region they come from to be able to collude and to have
Monene, just a bit, we'll have to take a break and we'll be right back. So we'll be taking a short break, we'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
From the most interesting things is the alertness of the dying person at the time of his death. For he becomes perceptive to a degree which cannot be described, and worried to an extent that has no limits. And he yearns for his times of old, and wishes that he be left so that he can make up for what passed him by, and so that he can be truthful in his repentance in accordance with the level of certainty he now has about death. And he, out of grief, almost kills his own soul before its actual death. And if a single atom's weight of these things were found at the time of health and well-being, everything that is intended by doing pious deeds would be achieved. So the intelligent one is he who pictures that hour and acts according to what it requires. And if he is not able to do that, then he visualizes it as much as he is able to, for it will prevent desire's hand and will arouse determination in him.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the last segment of the newspaper review section. And before we went for the break, Munene, we were talking about the Swahili and the Bajun story. Finish up.
The point is, I was trying to make is that it's very unfortunate there is a part of the people at the coastal region that were not able to be identified with the ethnic or the tribe that they would like to be identified with, because I think it's the right of everyone to get an identity with they feel they are comfortable with. I give you the example. For me, I wanted to be identified as a Kenyan. Tribe, my tribe should be identified as Kenyan, and the lady wasn't able to do that for me, because we can't use the issue that you should be identified exactly to your ethnicity. We know what the problems ethnicity has brought to us as a country, as a society. At the end of the day, we have a group of, let's say, of the kids that are born in these cosmopolitan towns, especially in Nairobi, that their parents came from different tribes. For them, they don't identify themselves with either tribe, most of them, when you ask, they will say they are Nairobians and that kind of a thing. So I think it's unfortunate that there is hidden agendas in our political leaders will use the numbers that they will get to have bargaining
which I
power
guess is a
for
very
politics,
sad situation.
which is a very sad situation, but that's the reality that we are living in. And I think it's time for Kenyans to demand value for money and value for what they get, the services they get from the government. I think the media didn't pick up the issue of the budget and the money that will be we were using for the census. Previously, I saw that Malawi conducted their census a few months ago. They did it less than $1 for every Malawi. That's how it cost them. It cost them around 4 billion Kenya shillings to conduct their census. Here in Kenya, we did that almost 5 times double what other countries are using.
So there's an issue of accountability there. Thank you so much for that, Munene. Thank you so much for that. Now, I want to move on to the next story. Kigen, we have talked a lot about this census issue. Now, moving on to the next story, we have on the Daily Nation, phone clue in missing golf billionaire's case leads to wife's arrest. Police believe he was murdered and that she had something to do with it. Now, going back, he was reported to be missing, since July. And now it is accused that the wife is the one who killed the husband. Now, from this story, what we come to find out that he had, attempted to file for a divorce, which did not take place. He even told his friends that his life was in danger. But, men, when you say that your life is in danger, you're looked at less than a man. And do you think this scenario would be different if it were a woman? Kigen.
Absolutely, it would be different. The paper says that he told some of his friends, and his friends saw it as an issue. They were like, hey, how can your wife harass you? And we've seen a YouTube video where the man has the Dutch guy, he was complaining and he was bleeding, on his forehead, and he was saying that the wife had assaulted him. And If you come back 5 days, he disappeared on July 19th, and 5 days before that, he wrote a letter to the DPP Nurdin Haj and complained that some of the Gigiri police officers, the top authorities there, he accused them of covering up the issue because he had reported issues concerning assault, you know, to the police station, but the police station never took any action. And again, we have to come back to one thing here. You know, where did this marriage start? This marriage was founded on totally the wrong things, because what the information that is going around is that when the Dutch guy came to Kenya, he was introduced to a certain lady in Mombasa, who introduced her to the wife now. And the reason why they got married is so that the Dutch guy could get a Kenyan citizenship. And you know, that marriage was not founded on the right basis of love and all those things that are required.
And that is why we're having so many problems right now.
And the lady on her part is claiming that the man was a drug addict and abuser of drugs. You know, he used to smoke and drink a lot. And the lady recalls of a time when all these wrangles started is when there was an engagement of the wife's daughter, and a traditional you know, ceremony, and in the home, the wife's home, the man came, and all of a sudden, after, you know, using a lot of drugs, he started lashing out, you know, unwarranted claims that I'm going to divorce this lady in front of many people, and that is where
he was intoxicated.
And I want to appeal to my Kenyans: get into marriage for the right purpose.
I think there are two sides of the coin. I wouldn't say that entirely the man was the one to blame or that kind of a thing, and at the end of the day, I wouldn't say he was good in that. I'll say he passed on. It's an unfortunate circumstance. The issue was how he was treated before his death came about. As a society, as Africans, it's very we don't take up these issues. If a man comes up and claims,
seen as a shame.
I'm being assaulted by a woman, I'm being assaulted by my wife. People, as a society, we really don't take up that. You will even go to the police station, and the police themselves will advise you, there is shame. You can't just go out saying this outside, telling everyone you are assaulted by a woman. What kind of a man are you? Where is your masculinity? I think that's how we are as society.
So, Munene, do you think the boy child, you know, there's so much concentration on female empowerment such that the boy child has been left behind?
Of course. Let me give a very prominent example. The leader of I don't remember the political Wetangula was claimed he was assaulted by his wife, reported at Langata police station, and the whole nation was up in arms against him. Unachapwa na bibi aje. You know, that was the word. How are you being beaten by your wife? We have seen the likes of Raphael Tuju. He filed for divorce after claiming his wife was being cheating on him and that kind of a thing. So I think it's a lot of concentration is given on the rights and the responsibilities that the society has to women, but there is the responsibility and the rights that the society upholds to men. When those rights are not exercised to men, the society seems to look the other way and say you can deal with the pain and you can deal with that. We are seeing a lot of our men being depressed, falling into depression, leads to drug abuse and that kind of a thing. It's the society has let go the responsibility that is had to the boy child.
That's a very good topic, and today, you know, on the round table, that is our topic. What is the role of men in our families? Said, what do you have to say about this?
Of course, if you look carefully, you have talked about something that the society, it is somehow society is being unfair to the boy child. But I believe we don't even have problem with laws. We don't even have problem. But if you look at our cultural context, because sometimes we try to whip West, not realizing we have a different culture with Western countries. For example, in West, you can go to police station and report you have been assaulted by your wife. And it is taken seriously. But according to culture, that is why our laws must be in tandem. Me, I'm not saying there is anything wrong with laws. What I think is that we are making laws oblivious of what is happening around us. We must make laws and paying attention to what is happening around us. And I believe even feminists, those of course who fight for women vigorously, I believe they should also consider, it should not seem as if that men and women are fighting. We should of course talk to each other and of course try to identify problems that are in our society, where women are oppressed or women have been treated unfairly, and how we can solve them without offending the man or without disadvantaging the man. Because if we push man to the corner, the man will fight back. And it has started. Because, of course, for example, if the education of a boy child is overlooked, men have, for example, even our religion tells us that men most likely may be a thief. A woman may not be a thief. So it means if you overlook the boy child, then there will be rising crime in society. If you overlook the boy child, if you neglect the boy child, you may see what you saw what happened in Moi University. Because that maybe that young man could not express himself to anyone about what maybe he is going through. I'm not saying he was right.
Kigen wants to say
I'm
something.
I'm not saying he was right. I'm not saying he was right.
I don't even want to talk about what
yes,
he's talking about.
but because maybe he could not express himself. Maybe if you feel offended by a woman, somehow it is shameful to go and telling people how you have been offended. Men, because of their nature, the ego that they have, and that is how they have been created. So most of the time they keep themselves.
But don't you think
so they may
ego is the one that's killing everything?
Yes, they may resort to such things. Maybe even violence. They may resort to committing suicide. They may even resort to crime because, of course, they feel they cannot even afford a woman, because maybe they feel the girl child is very empowered to an extent they cannot even handle.
That's why I always say that we are running after empowering the girl child, yet the men cannot handle these empowered women.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with what you're saying. And currently we are having a situation where we are having the girl child is more empowered than the boy child, and then the girl children, they lack people to marry them. And coming back to one thing, we must demystify the thing that men can't be feminists. Currently, of course, in social media, we're having, some sort of feminism that is driven by malice, where you hear the famous "men are trash," But I want to say that men also can be feminists, Of
course.
And I personally, I am a construct I'm a construct feminist. And also, on the other hand, women can also be malinist, so to speak. So it doesn't just lie with where you find it lying on one direction and it becomes a male versus female battle. No, let the conversation be constructive.
Munene, very briefly, we're wrapping up the show.
We should identify in communication. We say the context is prominent in the environment we are and the discussion we take. We should identify that what supports the way we behave towards men and towards women, it's the context of the culture that we are in. The culture that surrounds us, the context that surrounds us shapes our notion on how we relate to men and women and how we will be able to perceive them. It's in our African culture that the man is considered as the head and the woman is considered as below the man. So it goes against, as Kuria was saying, Western values that at one point it will try to push the lady up to the woman. I try to say it's a very delicate issue to try and say, because when you say let's empower the man and the woman, you get the issue. Are we saying the part of the man and the woman get the equality part, we forget our African heritage and that kind of a thing? Or are we saying the African heritage that dictates the woman should be in the kitchen and should not speak when spoken to and that kind of a thing? So I think the issue is the empowerment that we are given to the women. How a society taking up the responsibility to ensure that this man will be able to relate to this empowered woman. This man will be able to provide to this empowered woman. How this man will be able to correlate and live with this empowered woman. A woman, when she is spoken, she has the right to speak to. A woman that has her own needs and at the end of the day, she can't provide for herself. But the man, how will he be able to provide for her? To a woman who is able to provide for himself. To a woman who is able to answer back. To a woman who has a career, who has a life. probably who is earning more than him. So that's as I said.
I think we need to strike the balance and empower both the girl child and the boy child. Thank you so much.
Society takes the responsibility that is has to the boy child, because when the responsibility to the boy child is neglected, we'll see this kind of problems. We have beautiful ladies out there with no husbands,
with no men, and also men with no women. Thank you so much for that, Munene. Thank you for making time and coming to the show today and discussing stories making the top headlines in our country. Now we have come to the end of the newspaper review section, and this is just not the end. In the next segment, we will be having the round table where we discuss very thorny and pertinent issues in our society, and today is no exception. The topic of discussion is, what is the role of men in families? We've just talked about the boy child and the girl child being so empowered that the boy child is wondering what to do. So is a man just there to financially be there for a woman? Is that just all? Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Mm-hmm.